This is Cope 2, Bronx Graffiti Legend, and welcome to Backspin TV. Peace. I started back in the late 70s. You could say about 78, 79. And watching the subway cars in New York, you know, I would see all these big, huge names rolling up by on the outside of the train, like Comet and Blade, Mitch 77, Kit 17, Mark 198, Case 2, Scene, PJ, Mark 198. It was just, it was unreal. Like, I thought it was like not even illegal. I thought it was just something legal, like that they paid to do these, you know, because I was young. I was like 10, 11 years old. But my mother would tell me, like, no, it's graffiti. It's like against the law, and kids go in the nighttime in the trains and do it. So I was like, whoa. So as I got a bit older, when it came to like probably 1980, I started tagging inside the cars. I would get markers and do motion tagging. Motion tagging is like when the train is moving, while the train is moving and the last car will be empty, you would just throw tags. And then I started to meet graffiti writers, and they started to teach me everything more about how to go to the train yards, how to steal spray paint, to do pieces on the train. Because, you know, I was brought up in the South Bronx when we really didn't have anything in the South Bronx. We pretty much played in abandoned buildings, abandoned cars. We had a few playgrounds, but there weren't much, but a few monkey bars, seesaws, and that's pretty much it. There wasn't really much. So sometimes we would go to like the local supermarket, like Pathmark, and steal the shopping cart, and we would play with that. And you know, that's how we were. We would play in the mostly in the abandoned buildings. But the trains were more exciting because the trains had so much graffiti. You know, being 10, 11 years old, and we would go in a pack, like a little young pack of wolves, and we'd just go on the train and just look at the trains and play around and go to grocery stores and steal sodas and candy and chocolate and potato chips and just go back on the train, you know, because we had no money. I mean, our parents were poor, so we had to steal everything. We had to steal, you know, our sodas. We had to steal juice, potato chips. We had to steal everything. So that's just how it was, you know. Yeah, so I started to, my cousin really, Chico, he used to write Chico 80. He was pretty much of a local graffiti artist in the neighborhood, and he would tag up his name a lot, but not much, you know. So he kind of inspired me watching him do it. And then I met other graffiti writers in the neighborhood, like Rip 7 and a lot of other writers. And it was Case 2. I met Case 2 because I was going to school with his cousin, Hep 7, and he introduced me to Case 2 at the writer's bench back in like 1980. And he told me Case 2 was his cousin. I didn't believe him because, you know, people would lie, say, oh, this guy's my cousin, that guy's my brother, just so to get famous. But he said, no, Case 2 is really my cousin, man. If you want, we could meet him at the bench, and you could meet him. So I didn't really want to go to the bench in the sense that the bench was kind of scary, because back in those days, you know, if you go to the writer's bench and you don't know anybody, you can get robbed for your clothes, for your spray. You can get just vamped. It was called getting vamped. Like, you would get robbed for your stuff, for your money, whatever you had, they would rob you for your stuff. Other graffiti writers, they were bigger than you. So I was kind of young and small, and even though I was a fighter, but there was always bigger guys than me that I wouldn't be able to handle. So I wasn't trying to go to the bench with markers and spray cans. But he said, Case 2 is the king. He knows everyone. He gets mad respect. Nothing's gonna happen to you. So I said, fine. I went to the bench and I met Case, and that was like my hero. It was like meeting Superman back then. And from there I met Band 2, which was another big idol of mine, OTB, Out to Bomb. And I started to meet all the writers. I met Trap One, OTB. He was in Style Wars as well. I met Scheme, I met Dez. I started to meet everyone. There was anybody back then. I even met Cap. because at the time my boy Cone was working in a grocery store in Cap's neighborhood, and Cap would go in there to buy beers, and that's how I met Cap. And Case 2 pretty much gave me some style until I started to meet, until I met Delta 2, and Delta 2 gave me some style. And that's how I pretty much got my style. That was pretty much my mentors, was like Case 2 and Delta 2. My first piece was like in the back of a garage, in the back of a building. It was just a white filling with a black outline. It was terrible. I have pictures of it. The crazy thing is still there. You know, yeah, it's still there. I went like 4 or 5 years ago back there to check it, to see if it was there, and it was still there. And the paint was still good. It was just so funny, and to see it still there was kind of shocking. And then I went a couple of months ago, and it's just still there. It's fading away, but you could still see it. Kind of crazy stuff. And I did that like probably in 1980, was like early 80 was my first piece. Then my second one was on the actual subway cars. I did a silver and red one in the corner of the train. And it was amazing when I saw it run. It's funny because I'm walking with my mother and we're shopping. We went to go shopping in Jerome Avenue, and the train just pulls up, and I look up and my piece was right there in the corner. And I was like, oh, I got like, it was so like such a good feeling. So I told my moms that was me, and she didn't believe me. She didn't believe at all that I did that piece. And then I said, yeah, I did it. She goes, no, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did it. And that was it. From there on, I went to the train yards and I started to do more pieces. And I started to get better and better. I started to steal more spray cans and more spray cans, all the colors, Krylon, Rust-Oleum. And before you know it, I was doing some, like I had so many pieces on the 4 line. Well, you know, as you come up in graffiti, you're coming up fast, and people you know, there's a thing they call haters now. Back then it was called someone would be jealous, you know. So when you're getting up fast on the subway line, you had riders that were jealous. So they would go over your name because they were jealous you were coming up very fast, and they didn't want that. So they would just go over some of your stuff. So I got into beefs with a lot of writers and a lot of good writers too as well. You know, and I got into walls with like Scene and PJ and Min One and all these writers back in the days. But, you know, that was part of the culture, you know, to get up, you always got into a beef no matter what, because there was so many writers painting. Eventually someone was going to go over you, so it was just part of the game, and you had to deal with it, you know. And I had beef with T-Kid, because I used to go into the Ghost Yard and paint, and T-Kid didn't like people going in the Ghost Yard because that was his yard. Mm-hmm. And if you went in the Ghost Yard and he caught you, he would rob you and take your stuff. But he never caught me until one day he caught me on the Kingsbridge layups, and he tried to hit me with a bat, and he told me to stay out the Ghost Yard. And it's crazy because all these guys, I even got into beef with Cap at one time because I was down with MPC, and then I didn't really want to be down with MPC anymore, in the sense that they were really hated. Like nobody liked Cap, nobody liked MPC, and a lot of my pieces were getting destroyed. So I was like, I don't want to be part of this crew anymore, you know. All my pieces are getting destroyed because of Cap. So he got mad and he started to destroy my stuff. So I got into a war with him. But it's crazy. Today now we all just look at it and we laugh, and you know, it's just it's good in the sense because, you know, you're talking so many years ago, you know, like we're all grown men, we all have kids now, some of us are grandfathers, and who the hell fights over graffiti, depending the situation. Because today you have some young kids, they use the internet to try to get fame by disrespecting an old school writer like me or someone else. And it's terrible because the internet, it's cool in a sense and it's good, but it has ruined a lot of the pureness of graffiti, you know, because, you know, it's easier now for the police to catch you with the internet. Once you go online and you're on the internet, that's it. They know who you are. They can find you much quicker. Even if you don't show your face, the minute you open your computer and you have an email and you post any pictures anywhere, you will get caught because they catch you. It's called, you know, They can get your IP address from Yahoo, Gmail, whoever the hell. They can get all your it's a whole different story now with the internet. And I try to tell people, like, these young kids, don't post nothing on the internet, like if you're doing something very, very illegal. But some kids don't listen, and then when they get arrested, they're wondering why. And it's just a whole different ball game today. And a lot of young kids today, they just so disrespectful on the internet. It's like pathetic, man. But there's nothing you could do. You know, that's what they do. And that's their job, to be pathetic haters on the internet. So you got to just keep doing your thing and keep rocking. Yeah, I mean, it's not good because it's what I had. I had no choice, you know. Yeah. But well, I was a young father, in 1985. So I was 16 years old, and the jobs weren't working for me. So I had to sell drugs. You know, I had to go out there, hang with the big Jamaicans in my block, and sell weed, you know, because to make money, you know, and plus work. So I would go to work. You know, back then you would make probably $150 a week. That's nothing. That's just nothing. So I can make $100 a day selling weed with the Jamaicans. So I was doing that. It was much better for me and much easier. So, you know, as you get older too, you start, you know, messing around with other heavier drugs. You start taking them, and things can get out of hand as well. So it kind of helped me, but graffiti kind of saved my life in the sense that when I was arrested several times, in the sense where the judge is like, if you keep on selling drugs, I'm going to put you away for a long time. You ain't going to see your kids for a long time. And that kind of said, yo, you know what? I'm not doing this no more. You know, I've been in jail several times and I don't like it. I can't fuck with that shit. Because it's not about being tough, you know. It's about your freedom, and when you lose your freedom, it sucks. Because especially if you're used to always being outside every day, and you're used to just doing what you want outside, once you're in jail, your world just stops. It's a whole different thing. It's like, you know, I never understood when, like, my friends and a lot of people I see, they come out of jail, and they glorify it. They're like, yeah, I did a year in jail, I'm tough. It's so stupid because it's nothing to be proud of to be in prison, you know, really. It's because you did something stupid and you fucked up, you know, and jail doesn't make you tough, you know. I know people who's never spent a minute in prison, and they're so cool, but they are so tough. And if you fuck with them, they will beat your ass because they protect themselves in a different way with some kind of maybe martial arts or something. So some people have this thing like they go to jail, they need to go to jail to be tough. It's not true, man. You know, going to jail, it's not cool because it's your freedom taken away from you, and freedom is number one. I mean, I'm sure everyone here loves their freedom. It's nothing better than to wake up in the morning and do what you want. In prison, you can't. You know, you got COs cursing at you, you know, telling you what to do, and you got other inmates angry who might start trouble with you and start a fight, and you know, it's just a whole nother world that's not even worth it. So some people just get used to it. It's like, prison's like a vacation for them. I don't know how they do it, but they do it because I have family members who do it, and I just like, I don't know how they do it all the time, but they do it. My style is just of original New York style. You know, just kind of plain letters. You know, I can get mechanical, I can, it's just original New York style, something Mitch 77 would do, Delta 2, these are the guys who taught me, Case 2, so it's kind of like, I just call it original New York style. There's really nothing else, no other way to put it, and that's where I started, so that's what I always do, is just original New York style, and I kind of, you know, always kept it the same through the years. As you see my piece outside, it might have a little more flavor to it because today the new graffiti writers are so enhanced. It's unbelievable. Like, I see the styles in Europe all over, like in Spain, Paris, Germany, you know, Ireland, London, and the styles, it's just gone to a level that's unreal. Like, it's really cool to see all these new styles in graffiti. So sometimes, you know, you gotta, even though I'm an old guy and I have old New York style, I have nothing to prove, but I still want to have at least a nice piece that I can try to hang with the new guys, because, you know, even though you're an old school guy, you have nothing to prove, you don't want to have a shitty piece. You know, you want to have something different, you know, at least a little change to it and a good flow. And that's what I try to do sometimes, try to keep a new flow in my style. But it's always typically the same, nothing changed. That's basically it. The most positive things, really, I mean, let's do negative. The most negative things, really, is just, I guess, you know, don't beef with other riders, don't hate on other riders, just do your thing. Don't worry about who's doing what, who's the best. You know, I'm not the best graffiti rider, but I do pretty good, you know. I don't try to be better than anyone, I don't try to hate on anyone, I never did, but in graffiti there's always another rider that's gonna hate you, you know, and cross you out because you're getting up or you're better than them. That's a big problem we have, you know, that's a real negative thing. Just don't start beef and learn to respect, you know, try to respect other artists. And I mean, the positive things in graffiti is, you know, not everyone wants to be a hardcore graffiti writer, you know, so maybe you might want to not go out there and do illegal trains or illegal walls. So you can do maybe canvases, you know, that's a positive way to put your work on canvas like I'm doing today. I'm more into the gallery world, like the artists I looked up to back in the days, like Scene and Crash and Days and Futura. These dudes were starting to do canvas when they came from the subway era, you know. So that's a positive way as well to go on to graffiti. Yeah, I'm here in Hamburg I had a solo art exhibition at Die Hamburg Gallery, and that's what I was here for, and to just you know, promote my work here to the city of Hamburg, thanks to the gallery. And that's basically what I'm kind of focused on more now is gallery shows and art shows and paintings. I mean, graffiti's cool, but I've been doing it like over 35 years already. I'm not really into it as much as I want to be. It's kind of like I just did that piece, it's cool, you know, I did it, it's fun, but I've done that so many times, it's like not that exciting anymore, you know. And I'd rather be in a studio making paintings than to be doing a wall. So I'm pretty much now a painter more than a graffiti writer, even though some people don't see it that way. They look at me like Cope is still like this hardcore graffiti legend from New York, which really I'm not, you know. I'm pretty much too old for that. But I'm still and always will be a graffiti purist, and I will always do graffiti pieces on the streets wherever I go in the world, you know. Like I was in Moscow a week before Hamburg, and I did, it's crazy, these young kids really dragged me out to do a train, and I didn't want to do it, and it was like, come on, Cope, you know, you gotta come. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not trying to get arrested in Russia. You know, who knows what'll happen. You know, those cops are pretty tall and thin and look fit, and I ain't too fit to be running from them. So I told them I'm not trying to mess with it, you know. So it was like, nah, we got a good spot, don't worry. So I said, fuck it, we'll go. And we went, and it was cool. It was like, I was kind of shocked how easy it was. And then the next day, he went and got daytime shots of the trains running, like with people. It was crazy shots, like amazing pictures. Yeah, I'll send you some if you want to add for the interview. I'll send you. So that was kind of crazy to do trains in Moscow. And then I did a burner, and I did a couple of throw-ups, and I did a pretty good bomb in Moscow. But then I came here for my show at Die Hamburg Gallery, and to do my thing. That's basically it, man. To promote myself as an artist. That's what I do today, man. Wow, that's kind of hard. 100 throw-ups or one masterpiece. I kind of like 100 throw-ups because you got up faster, and that's how I really started in the train yards, was with throw-ups. You know, it's like you go in the train yard and you do one masterpiece. It's cool, people see it, But with so many other writers, you get a little scared because you don't want to get crossed out. But with throw-ups, 100 throw-ups, more people would see it faster. So I would go with the 100 throw-ups. Oh, train for sure. Train, I would definitely go with train anytime, any day, in the sense that that's where I was brought up, doing trains. And that's what I always loved. I started trains first. There's nothing better than your name just riding through the city. A wall, your piece stays still, anyone can come and just mess it up very quick. You know, and people see it, but they gotta walk by and see it. Unlike a subway car, if your piece runs, it runs through the whole city. So definitely a train, anytime, any day. Well, graffiti is the original street art. We kind of started that. We started art in the streets first, but always graffiti for sure, because that's what made me who I am today is graffiti. So I would always say graffiti. Well, that's kind of hard because I really love European graffiti, you know, but I'm New York and we're the motherland and the mecca of graffiti. You know, we started this and I have to go with my team, New York, you know, but I respect Europe, you know, and they respect us. And that's the great thing about the art form, is they took our art form to a level that we would never be able to, even though we started it. But I give it to the Europeans, man. They made spray paint, they made markers, graffiti magazines. They took shit that you wouldn't even imagine back in the early 80s. I mean, we stole our spray paint, we stole our markers. They weren't making that. We had to steal our fat caps. You know, for today, you got like hundreds of different caps. It's like, it's crazy. You go in a graffiti shop and it's like so many caps. It's really, really phenomenal. Like, I gotta give it to the Europeans, you know, but, you know, I come from New York and I'm a New York legend, so I have to go with my New York people. Well, I was always letters. I mean, I can do characters, but me, I was always letters, because that's how I started. And I think letters, it's more of being more of a graffiti writer when you do letters. I mean, that's what it's about, to do letters and do burner letters. So it would always be letters, for sure. I kind of like doing a piece alone, because sometimes when you do a piece with many people, you got to wind up helping this guy, that guy, you know. There's sometimes I do walls with people that I've been painting with for like 15, 20 years, and they still don't know how to blend colors, or they don't know what color caps to use, and it drives me insane, because I'm like, come on, you've been painting how long? And so sometimes when you paint alone, you have more of a serenity to be to yourself and be cool. You know, I don't mind painting with one person, it's cool. But always alone is better, because you know what you're doing and you can do your thing and be in and out. So definitely alone will work for me. Whole train at the age of 60, I would do that if I can. I don't know, man. If I could still walk around, who knows? I would definitely want to do a train in the 60s. Definitely. Yeah, this is just a quick, simple style sketch, something I would do probably on the trains back in the days, and that's basically it, man. You know, I never was really into black book sketches. I'm always like a writer that just goes straight onto the wall and freestyle right on the head, like what I did outside. I'm not really, some writers come with sketches and black books. I never liked doing that. I don't know why. It's just not my thing to have a sketchbook and do burners. And here I'm just doing a classic coat bubble throw up, the one that kind of pretty much got me more famous, because everyone loves these bubble throw ups. You know, they're called throw ups. You know, it was something we did back in the days to get your name up very, very fast. And I just did a quick bubble style. You know, it's called a throw up. It's something a lot of writers started in the early 80s. It was just to get your name up very quick. You know, one filling inside and one filling outline, and just very fast, very quick. And people basically know me more on this called bubble throw up, but even though I do other things, but this one got me more pretty much famous. Bombing the trains in the boroughs of New York when I did All City. So this is what you call a bubble throw up, and this is pretty much one of my favorite things.